Right. Well, hello again and welcome, Katerina. Happy New Day to you.
Happy New Day, Patrick. You
Thank
too.
you. Thank you for joining us for another edition uh, where we expand on RIMPAGE's principles, those principles that make the concept of RIMPAGE so powerful. We can elaborate further on those in this edition. And ultimately, what we want to do is empower you.
Yes.
The choice of empowerment is always there, along with the choice of disempowerment. And on
Mm,
this channel, we want to encourage you to be empowered,
yes.
choose to be empowered.
Yes.
So
And to
today,
recognize that the choice is always in your own hands.
always,
Mm,
yes. And today is we're nearing the end of the year, and so a lot of people hopefully are taking time to reflect on
mm,
where they are. Um, and so we sort of want to do the same thing today. We want to talk about reflecting, but
mm,
also measuring. Um,
yes.
those are two different things.
Mm.
Katerina, will you talk to us a little bit about that?
I can tell you what we will be talking about, but I'm really curious about measuring. This is something that you told me in one of our conversations, and I feel it's an important part of our goal setting that is often overlooked. You know, so
Yes.
I'm thinking, it got me thinking whether we set the goals properly, the
Uh,
goals that need to be compelling, but are we checking often enough? Do we have certain times of day or time in one calendar month or a certain period in which we could measure how we are with that goal, whether we are
yeah.
closer to it, whether that goal is relevant even anymore to us,
Right.
right?
Right.
That
Oh,
is
yes.
that is really important, isn't it? To this to have this distinction whether we are still on the correct path, on the trajectory that we want to be on in order to reach those goals. And another
Right.
important thing for me is also that goals are expanding. So sometimes what seems the goal at the beginning of the year won't be the same as we progress through the year and reach the other end of that same year. So that's what we're
Yeah.
talking about today. And where do you want us to start?
Well, I have a model that I've used for goal achievement for some time,
Mhm.
and I've shared on this and taught it to other people. And it's the letters are DPEM. So it's DPEM, and the
Mhm.
D stands for destination. I like destination as opposed to just saying a goal. I say
Right.
destination because it's somewhere you want to be. I want to go
Yes.
there. I want to be there. And
Very
so
true.
destinations have to be decided on before
Mhm.
we start moving. We decide where we want to go, and then we start moving. And that movement is the path. So you can
Yes.
imagine looking at a map and you put in an address and it shows you where that point is. And then
Mhm.
it shows you where you are relative to that point. So you have these 2 points. And
Right.
then once you have the 2 points, the path is clear
Right.
automatically. So just by choosing a destination and looking at where you are right now, a path becomes clear.
Mm.
That's the second part. And then the third part is execute. That's the E. And that's the daily routine of
Mm.
daily actions that you take
Mm.
or the steps that you take that get you there. But
Mhm.
then that last one is M, and it's measure. And
Right.
that's every now and then you need to look up and see where you are relative to where you were last week, where you were last month, where you were last year,
Mm.
and see if you're getting closer to the goal or if maybe you need to change some of your actions
Mhm.
to get there faster or more efficiently
Yes.
or in a way that's more enjoyable, it's more
Mhm.
impacting.
Yes.
So the measurement part is where you every now and then just stop and look at where you are.
Mhm.
Say, am I making it towards my goal or not? But then also, what you said is deciding, do I still want to go to this place? Is that
Mhm.
still my destination? Do I
Mhm.
need to change that in some way? And
Yes.
so measuring is what you do when you have a goal and you're
Mhm.
moving towards the goal. Reflecting is what you do when you have not decided on a goal
Right.
yet. I
Right.
think sometimes we can get it's easy to get stuck in a routine, in a
Mhm.
cycle, and
Mm.
our senses become dull, especially as employees, where couple Fridays from now, I'm going to get a paycheck. And you just work towards that Friday. And then 2 Fridays from there, I'm going to get another paycheck. And then 2 Fridays from, and you live paycheck to paycheck. And what you don't realize is life is passing by,
Yes.
and you're just in a cycle where you're getting that paycheck and paying bills and going to work, getting the paycheck and paying bills and going to work. And then something disastrous happens and you get knocked out of the job, and then you reflect. Sometimes it takes something disastrous to happen for us to reflect and say, just what is going on with my life? Maybe I don't want that job anyway. Maybe I want to start my own business. But you would never do that if that disaster hadn't happened. And so
Yes, you're putting
sometimes
it off
disaster strikes.
one day. Right.
Right. And then the disaster happens, and then we reflect on our lives and say, and I think there are some critical questions there we ask. One of those might be, do I like where my life is headed? If I keep doing what I've been doing, where am I going to end up 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now? And do I like that? We can ask, we should ask those questions.
Yes.
But it's easier to ask them when there's a break in the routine, when there's a break in that cycle.
And you know what? Life is constantly providing us with those contrasting situations, with those disasters, as you call them, right?
Yes.
They're just actually, I'm grateful for those reminders, because sometimes those intervening factors in my life came just at the precisely right moment, because I was too far down the path that wasn't taking me to destination where I wanted to go so desperately, right? But I was just so faithful to that path because that is where I set on that path in the beginning. So I wasn't very good at course correcting in that segment of my life, right? And funnily enough, it's directly related to my corporate career. So I'm very fond of that time, even though in many areas I grew as a person, and I did gain some valuable experiences through that. I am grateful that that was only a segment of my life, right? I'm grateful that that compelling feeling that I want to give more won in the end, and that I corrected my course, and I am now on the path which contributes more, in which I feel challenged enough every day to grow and to bring my best version to the table. So what was once very much haphazard, like I would just say happy-go-lucky, that was me, right? That things seemed to work out. I wasn't great at setting bigger goals. I was only setting short-term goals, right? And somehow when I set a goal, I just go for it and think in positive terms about that goal, and somehow it was opening. But I realize now that that was it could have just as easily gone the other way, if you know what I mean, right? So I was lucky in those circumstances. So now I'm more deliberate about it, right? And this is what the invitation here is to, we can be deliberate. We can't be too calculated about it, but we can absolutely measure and decide where we are, where we want to go, because we have this guidance within always that we can align to.
And you know what? As we do that, there's something that we need, and we've talked about this word before. It's bravery. As you reflect, you need to be brave, because sometimes when you reflect, the answer will be, you need to stop what you're doing.
Yes.
And you need to take a different path. And that path might not be as appealing because the security isn't there. It may seem like the security is not there, the safety is not there. You're doing this new thing, and it might be something different from what you're used to doing. You need to be brave and say, I gotta take that new path. I have to go in a new direction. We do have to be brave to change directions.
Absolutely. And Patrick, sometimes it may seem to us that this goal is going to take me way longer, to get to the point where I feel secure about where I am in my life. But when we're thinking about it, it is always longer than when we actually start being engaged with that goal. that time frame becomes smaller and smaller.
Yes.
When we're actually achieving it, then we see, oh, you know, this doesn't need to take as long as this. We are gaining some momentum, we're gaining some clarity about it. So our mission becomes clearer, this fog disappears, and we're able to then focus narrowly on where we're going. We speed up that process only once we engage with it, once we're brave enough to engage
Right.
with it and take action, right?
Yeah. And I
Mm-hmm.
think the other thing I would say is do it soon. Do it now. don't
Yeah. Yeah.
don't wait.
Don't wait
Don't
for
wait.
life to give you that nudge and push.
Right. 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 Because if the right choice is for you to change paths, how soon do you want to do that? How soon do you want to get off the wrong road and get on the right road? The road that's best for
Immediately,
you.
right?
As soon as possible.
Immediately. Yes.
Immediately. So don't put it off. Do it now. Or
Yes.
like you said, may give you that little nudge
Yeah.
and pull that thing that you were relying on, pull it out from under you, and now you're forced
Yep.
to reflect and
Yes.
reevaluate.
Yes. And even in
You
those
have to be brave to live
circumstances,
this life.
you can survive and you can find your food, but just doesn't
Yes.
feel comfortable. Be warned, because I have been there a
Oh,
couple of times in my life, like the complete um, rug gets pulled out, and everything that you're familiar with. That's why I say jokingly that my life has been more in the unpredictable than predictable pattern,
yeah.
and I'm more comfortable in the unknown. I truly am, right? Because I find now
Katrina,
comfort in that.
you know what? What you said is significant. You will find your footing. It's not, you're not going to die. The world's not going to explode. It might be uncomfortable because you don't know what the next step is. And we like
Yes,
routine. We kind of like to know what the next step is and what's coming. But trust that you will find your footing.
yes,
It may be unfamiliar. You might not see what the third or fourth step is, but just trust that when you get there, you'll figure it out. You've done
yes.
it this up to this point. You've been able to do it.
And
So
what you
once
said in
again, that
the beginning, the direction is so important. It's really important to know which way you are going, because you need to be turned that way. But the course correction, that always happens. You can't just be aiming everywhere in life. You can't
right,
do
right,
that, right? You're not going
right,
to get far in any one direction, right? It makes sense to have a goal, to aim somewhere. And I would suggest something that really pulls on your heartstrings, something that
right.
speaks to you, and be brave, even if you look at yourself in the mirror and say, Katarina, are you insane completely? How in the world are you going to figure this one out? Even if it's like that, be sure that those goals actually are achievable. If you have a voice like that inside you, I implore you not to ignore that voice.
Yes.
Yes,
That's your destiny
but
calling.
it will keep reminding you. Don't worry about that. So you can ignore it once, twice. It will come and become
Right, right.
louder in reminding you. Yes,
Because it's in the heart. You can ignore it only for so long, but
yes,
the heart has a way of grabbing that attention.
yes,
Sooner or later, you're going to
absolutely.
have to reckon with it.
Yes, yes,
Like, I think you had mentioned something like that before. The heart knows a lot of times before the mind does. Mind
yes,
has to catch up, but your heart knew it all along. And we
absolutely.
might think, well, I can make it work, and I'm that doesn't bother me, and I can deal with that. And you
Yes.
you go in that direction, and then pretty soon the heart wins out, and it says, "Listen, I told you this. This is not for us."
Exactly.
And
And sometimes, like, I really don't want you to experience this regret, as to, you maybe you passed certain point in your life where you could make a certain choice, and then you say, oh, now I'm past that point, and you can't go back, right?
uh,
So don't want you to experience regrets in your life. Eliminate
right,
regret, and you will be on the right path. Eliminate regret. Don't
yes,
don't agree to yourself to live with any regret. Anything that feels
mm,
like I may feel that I would have missed this experience. Anything that feels like that inside you, go for it. Go for it. And even if it doesn't turn out to be the thing that is your life calling, course correct.
course, correct.
Course correct.
You'll
Yeah.
find your footing. You know
Yes.
what else? This like the reward for being brave. The
Mhm.
reward for being brave is a new beginning.
Right.
You get to the excitement of a new beginning, and
Mm.
you're filled with life and energy again and enthusiasm, and you'll wonder why it took you so long to change.
Yes, absolutely. That is the main question that you are left after an experience like that. In my
Right.
case, my
Right.
case was 5 years, and I thought, why in the world didn't I do this sooner? Why did it take me
Yes.
5 years, right?
Yes.
Because you
So
can't go
you can
back on
do
that.
it.
You can
You can
absolutely.
do it.
Hmm.
Reflect on your life. It's
Yes.
your life, and it's worthy of that.
Yeah.
Ask yourself, do I like there's some important questions to ask. Do I like where I'm
Yes.
headed?
Hmm. Hmm.
How do I feel when I start my day this way?
Yes.
Is 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 it feel am I filled with enthusiasm for this
Hmm.
thing? And if not, check on that.
Yes.
And just ask, what would make me feel excited and in love with my life? I love that you put that on I think your LinkedIn, fall passionately in love with your life.
Yes. With your life.
That's
Quite a
quite an idea.
statement, right? Because when you are loving and appreciating your life, everything else turns out well in your life. You start succeeding. You start at things that you want to do. You start meeting
Mhm,
people that resonate with you. You can go deeper,
mhm.
exploring the passions in your life that you want to explore. You can go improving the skills that you wish to improve. You can grow exponentially when you are aligned with yourself, with your own path in life. You can only be aligned to your
Feel
own
better.
truth in life. That will lead you. That's the shortest path to fulfillment.
Uh,
Any other path is very risky, and it may lead you to success, but
mhm.
it's not guaranteed to lead you to fulfillment. It's in fact very hard that you will reach fulfillment.
I love that distinction you're making between success and
And
fulfillment
fulfillment, yes, yeah.
and the role that feelings play in that. How do you feel about your life?
Yeah,
You might have all the money you could ever need, but how do you feel about your life? Those feelings, as we discussed before, are a way of navigating. They help
that's
you
it.
navigate.
Yeah, absolutely. They help you navigate, and maybe we should delve deeper into that subject, because um, those emotions are something that we can move on the scale of those emotions, so we don't have to
Yeah,
commit ourselves to feeling certain way, like I always feel this way. You don't have to. In a matter of minutes,
right.
you can lift your mood, you can lift your attitude, your expectation, and your feeling and your emotions, and you can witness a different day for yourself when you do that. So you don't need to commit yourself to the lower frequency on that emotional scale. So perhaps we should bring emotions as
Yeah,
well, because as you
I
said,
would
they're
like that.
they're absolutely there to help us navigate to our goals.
Almost like they're the emotions and feelings are the language of the heart.
Yes, yes, excellent. Because our inner guide is communicating with
Mhm.
us in a different way. Not always in these thoughts. Usually, when we hear this voice, in our head,
Yeah,
this voice of doubt is a voice of, am I crazy for attempting this? Am I going
yeah.
to be able to do this? And so on. But this subtler
Mhm.
guide inside us is
Yes.
what we are talking about. Our heart is navigating us in a different way, and it communicates with emotions, with energy. So, by knowing and keeping awareness, so it's not a conscious thought, it's awareness about how am
Mhm.
I feeling in
Mhm.
this moment. We can recognize whether we are aligned with our path or not in this moment.
Right. So I would invite everyone watching to consider this question. When was the last time you felt really good? You felt really happy. You felt great.
Yes.
Sometimes I ask people that, and it's sad. They
Right.
don't remember the last time
Yes.
they
Yes.
felt really good.
Mm. Mm.
Might be time to reflect.
Yes. And it's
Try to
difficult.
reach back.
Yes. Difficult to be honest with someone else, to have a conversation like that if you haven't
Mhm.
been honest with yourself for a long time. So perhaps it's
Yes.
something that you can first and foremost talk with yourself, right? Don't be scared to have a conversation with yourself. Show up as your own friend and ask yourself that very question and be honest. That is the paramount here, is be honest as you can be, because you can go through it. You can
And
acknowledge how you're feeling and where you are in this moment, and you have to acknowledge in order to move forward.
and I think a lot of times, and this is actually a good thing, a lot of times, if we will take the time to reflect, we'll realize that whatever that thing is that's causing us to not feel great, it's something we're
Mm,
carrying it every day. And all we have to do is put it down. But we get we can get stuck in a routine and be carrying this thing for years and years and never realize I can just put this down. And if I
yes,
just put this down, I'll start feeling better.
absolutely.
Sometimes we hold on to things.
We carry it out of habit, out of honoring something that was long time finished. We just out of this um, routine, as you said. It's we cannot live our life on autopilot and be content with our life.
That's the word. I actually put that word in my notes. Autopilot.
Right.
Dangerous. We need
Dangerous.
to be alert,
Dangerous. Yes. Yes.
touch.
Yeah.
We have these feelings for a reason.
Yes. Yeah. And why are we bringing
So,
this subject just now is because this is the perfect time of year, in this window before New Year starts. You have a wonderful opportunity when the whole world is a little quieter. You invite
mhm,
yourself to retreat a little bit within and check in.
yeah. And also understand that a lot of times our happiness doesn't come from us getting something else, but from letting go of something that's taking away from the happiness that would already be there.
Yes.
So, might be time to let something go.
Yes, that's a wonderful invitation to see what is no longer serving you and what is actually a burden that you are carrying, that you no longer need to hold on to in 2023. What a wonderful invitation.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm,
Sometimes an example will be with our health. We're not feeling well and we think we need to take something because we're not feeling well.
yes,
Might be you need to stop something.
right,
It has to be
right,
there already if you would just stop this thing.
exactly.
So every time to let go of something and
Yes.
create space for something
Mhm,
else to come in.
mhm.
Like
Yes.
you can never bring anything new into your life until you've made space for it. Like some people say, I don't have time. None of us have time. You got to make the time for this thing. So if you want something new, you got to create a space for it in your life.
That's it. We're usually using our time and our energy on things that no longer require us to, right? That are leading us nowhere. That are just some habit that we keep up with. So yes, very important to let go of those things and say, be grateful and say thank you. This has served me in one part of my life, but it is no longer necessary to where I'm going, to who I am being now.
Yes. We can form the habit of happiness.
Yes, yes. I like to focus on contentment because happiness is a byproduct. It's
Yeah.
something that, but contentment is something that we absolutely can feel. You know,
Mhm.
when we are in alignment, when we are being aligned with our truth, with our own truth. And this is different for each one of us, as we said before. We are all on our own unique path in life. And the more we are aligned to our own truth, the more content it feels.
I love it.
And
I,
happiness just flows from that state.
yeah. Yeah.
You cannot miss to be happy.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
So I encourage you to
Mm,
reflect on your life, take a
yes,
moment, turn the TV off, turn the device off, and take a
yes,
moment to just be quiet, sit in a quiet space with yourself and
yes,
reflect.
yes. And never say, I don't have time. You have time for yourself. We have found time for this conversation to happen.
Yes.
And these conversations matter, absolutely matter in your life. So have them with yourself, show up as your friend, check in, ask yourself these questions that we have reflected on here together, and invited you to check in and have a much better 2023 that feels like I'm in control of my destination. In control of where I'm going, and I'm confident I will reach there because in every moment I am checking whether I'm on course, I'm correcting my course, and I'm letting go of things that no longer serve me in my mission.
So beautiful.
Important.
This particular subject is so beautiful
Yes.
because of the opportunity, the invitation and the opportunity that it presents us to
Mm,
finally get something new, something better.
absolutely. Absolutely. So that's our invitation to you for this live talk. I think we got it, Patrick.
Yeah.
Yes. So
Yes.
until next time, we will be seeing you now in the new year. We wish you absolutely wonderful time of reflection in these quieter days of the year, so that you can then just charge from the start of the new year and go for your dreams.
Great. I love it.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, and thank you as ever for co-creating this wonderful journey. Wishing you all the best in the days to come, and see you in the new year.
Next time.